And we are back. Joke aside, this is our third attempt. We're having some technical difficulties. We'll get stuck in, so hopefully this all goes smooth and this is the one that gets uploaded. But we've just actually finished filming our Fantasy 101 show. So if you've got any questions on fantasy, or if you're starting your league, any bits of advice about how to do the league, what to look for in drafts, anything like that, please go and watch that. Put your comments in that one. This show is all about rankings. The next couple of shows are going to be all about rankings to help you pick and draft the best team possible. Obviously, everyone knows the well-known names, the Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons. These are four of them players are picked up. You don't know where to go. You don't want to reach. You want to pick a player that suits you, suits your team, and you're guaranteed some success. We brought the lads in. Got Bish, winner of 3 or 4 titles. I made that up, I don't know. He's from the fantasy brother. We've got the man himself, Tag, who obviously lost in the final last year. He's won a few other leagues throughout the years. I've not won one, so that's why I'm not allowed to pick my rankings yet. But I'll hopefully earn the title at the end of this year to get my rankings in. But lads, it's QBs today. It's the show of the quarterbacks. Help out the listeners, help out the watchers with our rankings. We go bottom to top. So we're doing our 12th ranked QB first. Bish, take us through it.
At number 12, I've got Jared Goff, the Detroit Lions quarterback. On a revival in his time with the Detroit Lions, they play some really good attacking football, score a lot of points. And a sneaky little thing that I found out this year is that he doesn't actually play outside until week 13. They're all dome games, which means there's no weather elements. So hopefully that'll bring out the best of him. So yeah, I've got him coming in at number 12.
Love it.
Yeah.
We are going to sort of, when we say a player, we probably won't cross paths and speak too much on the same place that comes on our list. But I will say about Goff is that he's not made my top 12. I've just stayed away from Goff a bit. I just think he's had a couple of good years. I don't know if he can be that consistent again. And I've just thrown a few in there. And my 12th quarterback is Caleb Williams. And I'm going Caleb Williams because he's going to be rather up here or down there. He's a rookie, his first pick overall. We've seen some of his clips, we know what he's capable. Can he do it in the NFL? If he can do it in the NFL, I think if you're taking him as a 12th quarterback, you get an absolute steal. He's got an absolute weapon in DJ Moore. They've acquired Keenan Allen, one of the most consistent wide receivers in the game. He's got a top end tight end there in Cole Kmet. He's got top draw running back in Jondre Swift. So he's got everything around him to bring out the best in him. He's got a lot of weapons. And I think from the way he throws the ball, if you've got him at 12th pick, it might not work out, but if it does, I think he will steal.
I like it, lads. I think we've got some personality showing already. We've got this with the safe. I'm going safe betting Jared Goff. I like Goff personally. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I love the safety and the players around him. Caleb Williams is a risk for him himself, obviously a rookie. He does have the wide receivers. He's got probably one of the most loaded wide receivers rooms in the league. So I like both picks to get us going, lads. Tag, I'll go to you next for the 11th pick of your quarterbacks.
Yeah, pick 11 for me. People might not have as far down as this, but I'm going Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow at 11, just because he is easily taken away from fantasy as an NFL quarterback, easily a top 5 QB in the league for me. But he has had a few injuries. He does always seem to get hurt, and that's what comes with the risk. The Bengals, are they going to be still as consistent what they have been? They was a bit slow last year. I just think there's too many question marks, but I think fantasy-wise, if you get him, just make sure you've got a pretty good QB or be ready to get one off waiver, because there is that question mark, can he keep on the field? If he keeps on the field, you've got a top 5 prospect there, but see if he can sell the field.
I've gone different, so do I want to say where I've got Joe Burrow and do a little bit
of boy.
So just touch it. Okay, so at 11, I'm coming in with Kyler Murray at 11 here. Again, a quarterback, Tad just touched on their injuries. ACL came back from that towards the back end of last year. And not really a team that has a lot of weapons, but they've just drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. and I'm pretty much locking him in as their offense. Kyler Murray's got to get him the ball. Although they do have Trey McBride at tight end, who had a very good season as well. And the added upside of Kyler Murray, we all know, is his legs. He can make plays, he can run, he can score touchdowns. It might lead to him, obviously, taking a bit more contact, which is where the injury comes in. But I think as an upside player, I think he's a great runner there. So he comes in at number 11 for me.
I guess my question on Kyler Murray is, why have you not got him higher? Obviously, with the injury, it's a definite one. But I think if he is on the pitch, Bish, isn't he a top 5 QB with his legs?
I wouldn't say top 5, but I would have definitely had him higher. My only worry is them as a team in general. They were a very bad team last year. I think they'll be better this year. But again, he's got Marvin Harrison Jr., he's got Trey McBride. Other than that, I don't see a great deal. James Conner is the running back. Might get some work in the passing game. But other than that, I think there's an awful lot depending on those 2 receivers for him. So again, in a tough division, I see him being better than last year, but not a team that makes a step. So I think it's a sort of good area for him.
We're into the top 10s. Bish, who's your 10th ranked QB?
Coming in at 10, I've got Brock Purdy, the 49ers quarterback. A disclaimer, this was done before I knew about Brandon Ayuk, and it looks like he's going to be traded. So that does have an effect, I think. But the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, it's a high-powered offense. I think Brock Purdy is the perfect system quarterback. He makes the good throws, he's accurate, and he does what he's asked to do. And I think with those around him, Kittle, Deebo Samuel, obviously it's looking like no Brandon Ayuk. So that's my only negative on that. But the 49ers last year averaged, I believe, over 30 points a game. So they're scoring plenty of points. A lot of that is coming through the arm of Brock Purdy, along with CMC. So I think he's definitely a top 12 quarterback towards the bottom end. So I've slotted him in at number 10.
Yeah, I've not got Purdy on my list, so I was touch on Purdy. He would probably be at 13 or 14 for me, just the reasons you said is why I kept him just outside the top 12, but he was one I was touch and go with. Quite quick on that, number 10, Kyler Murray. We're pretty light there, Bish. Yeah. You got him 11, I have got him 10. I'll recap on what you said. The actual team, the Cardinals itself, is my worry with Kyler Murray. Is he going to have to carry the load of that team? He's good enough, but he's got to stay fit. He has to get that connection with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think if he stays fit, he's a top 7 or 8 QB, like we've said. And for that reason, I've slotted him at 10, very similar to 11, Bish.
Like you all, we'll get straight on. No questions there. You've covered your reasons very well. So we'll go Tag, your now ranked QB.
Number 9 for me is Jordan Love. And I've gone with him because he's just shown what he can do. I love the youth and the quality of the Green Bay team. I think he's got a lot of weapons there. A couple of young tight ends, Watson. Also, I think the adding of Josh Jacobs is going to be good for him as well. Obviously, Aaron Jones, it was always a case of was he staying fit and getting him on the field. But I think with Josh Jacobs there, the running game's going to be even stronger now. That run through the guts here, bit of that play action play for him. He's got some speed to it. I like Love. I had a really good year last year. I have got Green Bay as my sort of outsiders for the Super Bowl this year. I think it could be their year, or if not, they'll be definitely in the mix. And on the back of that, fantasy-wise, because of their offense and what they can bring on defense to make sure they're in a lot of games, I'm going Jordan Love at 9.
I'll ask the question then, why Kyler Murray with his legs, with his touchdown upside, obviously through the legs, through getting the running yards. I'd have Kyler, and this is coming from a Green Bay fan, for purely fantasy reasons, above Jordan Love. Explain a bit of that reason there, because obviously it's a safe pick. Jordan Love's got a great wide receiver room, but Kyler's legs alone might get him similar points.
He is, and them legs alone might get him injured. If we're going on who's available, and if 8 quarterbacks are gone, Love and Murray are there. If I'm building my fantasy for the season, I'm taking Love just on the basis of there's a good chance he won't get injured. he's going to throw for a lot of passing yards. When you saw the stats in football last year and how similar was to Aaron Rodgers in his first full season as starter at Green Bay and what he went on to do and what Loves looks like he can do, I think he'll get that many yards through the air and that many passing touchdowns. He's going to tally up them points. Don't get me wrong, if Kyler Murray stays fully fit all year, the Cardinals go all right. And I look silly saying this, and Kyler Murray would be the guy if you should have took, but just the risk and reward side of things, for me, I'd have Loves beside QB over him.
I think it's chalk and cheese. I think you can't go wrong. I've actually got Love a lot higher on my list, so we'll get to it.
Wow.
But at number 9, Tags mentioned him. I've got Joe Burrow. Again, it's been stop and start with Joe Burrow. I really loved him in college. He was my dynasty quarterback that I signed in all the leagues. So I really loved him, but that injuries he's dealt with have hurt him quite a lot. But I think this year, going on the basis of last year, it looks like it's going to be T. Higgins last season. They've got Jamar Chase there. They've just signed Mike Gesicki at tight end. They've got some real weapons there. Jermaine Burton in the draft, who looks like he'll fit nicely in the slot. But the biggest thing for me is they finished 4th in the division last year. They now have the schedule based on the teams that finished 4th in their divisions as well. So they've got a slightly, shall we say, on paper, easier schedule than what they normally have. So I think that can aid in there. Again, I think they've got the weapons. So again, I'm putting him in there. He's obviously not a great mover. His legs, we talked about Kyler Murray, but he's not going to get those rushing touchdowns, which limits him a little bit. But I think he's just in there, that sort of lower section for me. So he comes in at number 9 for me.
And he shaved his head and dyed his hair blonde. So
He's ready to go.
You've got to bring it. We're on number 8, lads. Bish, it's you to go.
Number 8, it's my guy. I took a lot of stick for this, but it's Tua Tagovailoa. I'm a big Tua. Just write some stats because I'm a big stat man. Number 1 offense last year with the 7th worst offensive line. He gets a lot of stick, but he's getting it done. Whether, again, he's assistant quarterback and all that, but he's getting it done. Another high-powered offense. I just think through the volume, he's got Tyreek Hill, he's got Jalen Waddle, dynamic duo, in my opinion. I think they score plenty of points. The reason why I've got him at 8 and not higher is because against the better teams who find him out a little bit, they haven't been able to come up with a plan B, and Tua has struggled. So I think against the perfect claptrap bullies, against the lesser teams who they're supposed to be, I think they'll do that comfortably, and that's where you get your points for Tua. So I'd have Tua as a starter, but maybe when he's playing on the road against some tougher teams, I think he'll need a decent backup on a matchup basis.
So, obviously we spoke about it. I'm more of a safer guy, I'd say. My top 7 are safe. One name I'm throw in here at 8, which is the big punt for me of the season, QB wise, which could win you a title or lose you, is Anthony Richardson at 8. Yeah. Oh. And I've got Anthony Richardson at 8 because we saw what he could do before he got that injury early on last year for the Colts. You speak about your legs and you're running QBs, and the points he was scoring in fantasy early on last year were massive. I'd like to see, I haven't looked back, I had much of a stamina as Bish, but I'm pretty sure he was a top 3 QB until he got that bad injury. He was out for the season. He is the starting quarterback, he's a runner, he's youthful. If he comes back from his injury, for me, if he's there on the board, few quarterbacks have gone, you drop him into maybe the 4th, 5th round, and he's there. It's a big risk, but I think it's a sort of risk what could win you the league if he stays fit. He's going to win you some big matchups, and he's a big risk. We've got to have a bit of a punt in the punt. I'm very safe in my top 7, but yeah, I don't know what you think about that. Put Richardson in there.
I'll give that. It's very risky. Obviously, we've only seen him play 5 or 6 games last year. I don't know. I think you're right if he does stay fit, but with only 1 year to go off, and reminding in college he had the same issue, so it's a reoccurring issue. He's not playing many games in his career, college and NFL at all. So big risk, very untagged like based on your earlier statements.
Yeah.
But if it pays off, you're right, haven't you? You've got to. I'd say my only question would be why Richardson above Kyler. when Kyler's got similar fit, obviously nowhere near as big as a body, maybe not as much touchdown upside, but yardage on the running.
Yeah.
I'd like the safer picking Kyler over Anthony Richardson.
But when I look at that, Kyler's on the massive money. All the pressure's on him. He's got a massive contract. He's had so much stick about playing so much PlayStation. He's had the bad injury. No expectations on Anthony Richardson, really. Yeah, you've took him on in the first round last year. He could have potentially come back last season, but they wrapped him in cotton wool and said, no, go for the surgery. Your season's done. We're going to wrap you up and get you right for next year. And he's still that rookie contract. And there's no pressure there with him. So that's why I just think Kyler's there so to fail again, in my opinion, potentially a lot more than someone, a young kid like Richardson, who, look, we've seen the way he plays, but I feel like if you get him, you can get maybe a decent backup later on, one off the waivers maybe even the backup to Richardson, taking in case he goes down. Obviously, we played Joe Magic last year and he was top of your waivers when he come in. But yeah, I'm just thinking, if there's a risk there at QB and you want to take a go for someone who could win you a league, if you say Spit and Richard, that guy.
Yeah, he doesn't quite make my list. Again, I'm with Joe. We're just not seeing enough of him. He's been injured at every stage he's played, but I would say they were one win away from the playoff spot last year. He's got the team. He's got a great offensive line. He's got a fit Jonathan Taylor. He's probably one that I'd be the opposite of you, Tag. If he was there in the later rounds, he'd definitely be one I'd stick on my bench.
Yeah.
Because I think that upside he could bring, is potentially a title winner, definitely.
We're on the seventh pick, I believe now. Bish, is it back to you? Oh no, it's back to you.
I can spot it straight away. He's with my seventh pick because it's Tua. And obviously, Bish, don't worry, Bish, you are being biased back in your mate. I feel like that's the one thing they've seen in one offense. And they're going to have the odd down week, but when you've got guns like Devon Aitken, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, you want that solid QB. He's proven himself. Yeah, he needs to be better against the bigger teams, but over the course of the season, the points he's scoring in some of their matchups are going to get you enough wins here with them playoffs. So for me, Tua is a very top 7 QB for me.
Like it, yeah. 7, I'm coming in with Jalen Hurts. A quarterback, I'm a bit worried about it, if I'm honest. We saw the back end of the year, they struggled massively, both sides of the ball. Whether Jalen looked a bit injured at times, disenfranchised with the new offensive scheme, I'm not too sure, but he did look himself. They've also lost Jason Kelce, which was a massive part of the tush push, the brotherly shove, whatever everyone wants to call it. They now have Saquon Barkley. I genuinely feel that'll take quite a lot of touchdowns away from Jalen Hurts. Why would you risk Jalen Hurts when you've got Saquon Barkley? That's it. So I think his touchdown numbers come down a lot. He still has the weapons out there. I love Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. He's definitely going to get his. So Dallas Goedert as well. He's still got the weapons, but I'm just a little bit. He didn't do a lot of running last year, and that's what, again, as a mobile quarterback, as I see him as, I think that's probably an area that brings him down a little bit for me. So I think we might see a little bit of regress in terms of his fantasy numbers.
I'll cover Hurts out with higher.
Number 6, Bish takes through.
Number 6, I'm coming in with CJ Stroud. The Texans wonder what difference he made to them last year. And he just, one of those young players, he come in and he was so confident. Me and Joe, we had him week 4, week 5. We had him as a MVP candidate, didn't we? Before everyone was talking about him. We loved what we saw. Again, they've gone and got him another weapon in Stephen Diggs. He's got Joe Mixon now in the backfield as well. I think he's got all the weapons that he needs on offense to be even better. You've got Tank Bell coming back as well. It's an unbelievable cast he's got in front of him. I can see, with the confidence and the ability of that offense, I can just see him again doing what he does, backing up from last year, and that's why he's at number 6.
So my only comments on that, Bish, is it's a famous term in America for college and the old sophomore slump. But you've always got to keep that in mind. The regress, he was a new player. Obviously, people didn't know how he played, what he liked to run. NFL defensive coaches are some of the most elite coaching of any type in the world. They do the research and they figure things out quick. So let's see if he can then outdo the coaches when they've got enough film on him to know what he does and what he likes. So yeah, hopefully he doesn't have the sophomore son, very likable character, but and say keep in mind that it is a big thing in America, the old sophomore son. Hold it back. Tag takes from yours.
6 for me is Dak Prescott of the Cowboys. We are talking fantasy, and we're talking people who run fantasy and think what Dak's done the last year or two on fantasy is proven. Has been a high point scorer. He does choke in the playoffs when it comes to real NFL, but that makes no effect to us in our NFL fantasy league season. He has got the weapons there. He's got arguably top 2 wide receiver in CD Lamb. He ain't known for running the ball. He doesn't run the ball much, but you've got to respect Dak and the arm he's got, and he's got a lot of weapons still there in Dallas. And I just think consistently, a guy who's going to get you 20 points every week as your QB is Dak Prescott, and I think he's a safe take for me at 6.
Nice, I like it. Back to you then, Tad. Who's your 5th pick?
That's why I didn't touch on the back of that, but me and Bish have done this a bit lately. We've juggled here and there, but I've got CJ Stroud as number 5. And I do think potentially when you go to your top 4 or 5 QBs, you do go to the running ones, the one who added the score more touchdown. But for me, the sophomore syndrome, so to speak, just can't be there for me because we've seen what he can do. His arm is so good, and he's just got better weapons around him. I think there ain't a massive risk there with him. He's in a very good team. Look, they've got a very good coach in DeMarco Murray. Defensively, they're strong. They've given more weapons. For me, Stroud's shouting out top 5 QB now. I think I understand the potential risk there, but for me, it's nailed on. You've got to take him. I love everything about him.
Like it. I guess so far, as what we're seeing is you're preferring the safe, the boomer bust, and that on top of it. You're going pretty safe with these picks. You've actually done a lot of the running. There's obviously these top running quarterbacks to come, but in general, you've done the athletic ones a bit later than most of us. I've read a lot of QB rankings, and they're a bit different to you lads.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put it on you. The pressure's on you. Bish, who's your number 5 ranked quarterback?
Coming in number 5, and Tag spoke about it a bit earlier. I've got Jordan Love here. Again, another young quarterback I was probably half a season too early on the Packers. I talked him up at this time last year, and it probably took half the season for it to click, and for whatever reason it clicked, and Jordan Love is certainly, I think, the top, if not close to the top in stats. Number 1 passing yards, QBR rating for the second half of the season. And what I like about him is that he doesn't really have a number 1 wide receiver. Christian Watson was sort of tagged to be that person, spent a lot of time on the sidelines, and he just spreads the ball about to everyone. And I think the Green Bay Packers will continue to do that this year. My only potential downside that might limit him is Josh Jacobs coming in, a reliable running back who they can lean on to run the ball. But if they decide they're more than capable of Jordan Love controlling the game and taking over, I've got him at number 5 there.
Like you, Bish, yeah, about that. Agree with your point about Josh Jacobs. That's the one worry that I know Green Bay, previous to last year, do like to run the ball a lot. Aaron Jones was that man. I think he's now become more of a probably receiving down running back. He's great hands. I don't think he quite has that same power and that same meat that he had in him. And obviously A.J. Dillon's turned out to be a bit of a bust. I think a bit harsh, so I don't think he was ever rated that high. People had higher expectations. I think they'll use Josh Jacobs a lot, so that's my only worry for that. Tag, is it? We said your 5th, haven't we? So we're on your 4th. Oh no.
Yeah, back to Bish for 4 if you want.
Number 4, and again another one. Tag's screwing up. I've got Dak Prescott here coming in at number 4. Simply because if you look at this Dallas Cowboys team, they've not got much to it other than Dak Prescott and CD Lamb, and that's all I can see. Historically, they're a team that, again, another flat track bully. They'll put plenty of points up at home, but when it comes to it in the playoffs, they won't deliver. But we're not worried about that, as Tag said. All I can see in this team is Jake Ferguson and CD Lamb. They've not inspired me with bringing Zeke Elliott back.
No.
They've got Zeke Elliott, Rico Dowdle in the backfield. If I'm honest, I can't see much happening there for me, this is all about Dak Prescott in a contract year. He's unhappy that he's not been given his contract yet. I think he lights it up this season. Again, CeeDee Lamb is the main man. Get him the ball. I can't see much else for that Cowboys offense, and that's why I've got him so high. He did the same last year. I think it'll be very similar this year.
Well, 4 for me, and big commercial, because I think most people will definitely have them in the top 3, but in 4th I've got Josh Allen from the Bills. I'm putting him at 4. For me, as a team, the Bills, I know it's in fantasy, but I feel like they've missed their Super Bowl window. I think they've had the potential last few years to get there and they fell short. The defence is quite aging, of another year old, like my guy, Von Miller's still defensive side balls, but even though Josh Allen to me is trying not to push it as that way, I think Stephon Diggs is such a massive loss for that team. I think if Diggs is still there, Josh Allen for me still is in my top 3. But I think that relationship I had with Diggs, all the extra touchdown passes to Diggs and all the extra yards passing goes to Diggs. I know someone's going to go in there and replace that, but not as much as for Diggs for me. I love Diggs. Diggs is one of the top fantasy guys. And I think Allen's going to be hurting from losing him. He is going to run the ball. He's still going to score touchdowns. He's still going to be very good and very solid. But for me, I've just got him just outside the top 3 for the first time.
I think that explains, again, your safe pick, Tags. I think Diggs losing, for me, excites me more for Josh Allen. Now he's going to completely just dominate that off. It's not going to be passed downs to Diggs. Let Diggs have his play. It's going to be Josh Allen running that ball often. I mean, you can't predict injuries in any sport, in any area, but that would be my one worry with what you think, Bish. But I'm quite high on Allen.
I am. I don't want to reveal where I'm going.
Sorry.
He's in my top 1. Now let's touch on him now. I'll talk a little bit. I won't tell him where I'm going, but again, I just think he's got to take on more of the load. I just had a look then as you were speaking about him. His top 3 wide receivers are Keon Coleman, a rookie they've just drafted, Curtis Samuel, who's taking snaps at running back and a wide receiver, and also Khalil Shakir. Not household names, a lot to prove. One of them might stand out and be unbelievable. Running back as well, it's the same as last year, James Cook. They drafted a guy as well. So for me, for the Bills to be good, they've also lost a lot on defence. The secondary was an aging secondary. I just think this is Josh Allen has got to put everything on his back and carry this team, which for me means rushing the ball, scoring touchdowns. He's got to do everything himself. He is a big back. I think he's a risky one in terms of injury, but yeah, he's high up there for me. But I won't say where.
I used to be your 4th, Bish.
My 4th, Dak Prescott was my 4th, so I'm 3rd. Oh yeah, is it over to me?
Yeah, go back to your feet.
So my 3rd, and I think I'm the first one to bring his name up, is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes struggled last year, didn't really have the weapons. I think they've addressed that this year. They've gone and got him his weapons. He's got Hollywood Brown over from
Ravens.
From the Marquise Brown and the Cardinals. Much needed him. They've gone and drafted one of the fastest wide receivers in the draft as well, Xavier Woods. Sneaky draft value out there. Rashee Rice, he's had some off-season issues, but he's not been suspended yet, so he's still available as well. So I think he's got a lot more weapons. They finally got a running game, which just opens the offense up even more, I think, and opens up more passing opportunities for Patrick Mahomes. And obviously you've got Kelsey as well. So I think he had a little bit of a down year last year, but I think he's definitely back up with those options. We know he's a magician. They can make things happen out of nothing. So yeah, his top 3 for me, he's coming in at number 3.
Yeah, 3 for me. Obviously, we mentioned Mercy. He's higher on the list. He's a lot higher than Bish and after what JoeMe had to the top 3 quarterback. I think what you're getting, he might not have as much workload there regarding some of the runs, but he's proven his fitness. He's proven that he does run the ball. He can throw the ball. He's still got his 2 guns there in AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. And then the addition of Saquon Barkley could bring a few more touchdown passes because also no Barkley on the screens or when he cuts in behind. I just think, the Eagles as a team have a lot to answer for, but I think Jalen Hurts is a QB, and what he's doing in recent years, they've seen the way he plays. It takes a lot for him not to play and be off the field. He seems a very tough quarterback, played with injuries, and yeah, I think if he's there in the top 3 and you can take Jalen Hurts, take him, because he's also in a division with a few question mark teams who are going to be playing often in like Commanders and Giants.
I like it, and with you, Tag, I've got him very high. Like you said, hopefully we see more of his legs than last year.
I can roll it to 2 if you want from there, and I've got Patrick Mahomes. Bish had him 3, I've got him 2. With Patrick Mahomes, he does run the ball as well, but 3 400-yard games are nothing to Patrick Mahomes. It's a lot of fancy points there. I think with Worthy, it was everyone's worst nightmare, Chiefs getting in with Andy Reid and what you got Tyreek Hill. Get ready to see them sort of numbers, I think, potentially. He has got Rashee Rice still there. They have Sam Brown. Kelsey seems keen, hungry. He's got over the Taylor Swift honeymoon period. Now it's just his girl, for anyone knows it is. You don't have to see her every 2 years, every day. I think you'll see a bounce back here from Kelsey. I do think he was obviously still decent last year. Mainly the players. I don't think I had him in fantasy. I don't think he brought that value of what he normally brings, but I think he'll get that again from Kelsey this year, potentially, especially on touchdowns. So for me, Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the world by a country mile. And if you want to lock in early QB, who's going to throw 300-400 yards like it's nothing, that's your man.
Can't argue with that. Number 2, I've got coming in Lamar Jackson. This is interesting. Big signing for them, Derrick Henry. And I just think, for me, everyone's focusing on what that brings to the running game. I think for me, it opens up the passing game massively, because you have got to stack that box if you've got Derrick Henry in front of you. They're already a really good running team. We saw that last year with Gus Edwards. Lamar Jackson himself can break off a 50, 60-yard run on his own and score touchdowns. But I just think it just opens up so much of the passing lanes for him. Zay Flowers had a really good rookie year last year. I think he'll be even better this year. Can we see a second wide receiver emerge? Rashad Bateman, talk is having a really good camp, and you've got Mark Andrews coming back as well, who'll be fit. So I think we're guaranteed the rushing and the touchdowns. That's not an issue for Lamar, but I think where he really excels now is or where I think they'll really look to target is that passing game. Because I just think, as I said, with so much dynamic players and strength in that running game, you've got to edge towards stopping that as a defense, which I think again leaves so much space out the back. So I expect to see Lamar picking up some big passing numbers this year.
I'll be the killjoy based on the devil's advocate, based on the fact I'm not doing this for based on the fact you've not mentioned him. Tag, I'm assuming he's coming up in your next 2 picks. I'm not as high, lads. I think Derrick Henry does steal a lot of them touchdowns in the rushing game that you said he might not. I think that, and I'm still not. I'll be the one that will get. I'm still not fully convinced by his throwing game, his attack. I'm not convinced.
MVP.
Yeah, I'm not fully in.
Two-time MVP.
Not so that if he's winning games exceptional, that opens it up for fantasy alone.
Yeah,
I don't think he's a top 2 for me, lads. I'd have him 4th, 5th this year. I think when you've got Derrick Henry there, you don't need to. I think he's trying to prolong his career anyway. Last couple of seasons, he only runs when he has to. When the game's on the line, he pulls it off. To be fair to him, that's why he's MVP. But I think a lot of drop-offs to Derrick Henry, letting him control the game. They're not this explosive offense apart from when Lamar has to be exploded. I think they like to control game. They like to have field position. They like to zap the life out of the opponent. And I think what better as a team, what better running back to do that than Henry? And I think that means a lower year for Lamar fantasy-wise.
I disagree with that. Because he's my number 1. Move on to the top pick. I do have a soft spot for Lamar, and you viewers will pretend you get them soft spots with your fantasies. The same, the fact that Lamar was my QB when I won my first fantasy title.
Oh, there we go.
I will be open and honest with that. But he does really excite me, and I am on Bish's side and feeling like Derrick Henry could potentially open up even more of Lamar. You miss Lamar sometimes, he has always had the odd injury, missed the odd week or two. I feel like you won't get that this year because there ain't as much onus on him to risk them sort of plays with Derrick there. I do think he can throw the ball. He does get he's going to say the amount of play action to be coming out of that team of him and Derrick this year is going to be scary. And for me, if I'm reaching to get one QB, I'm taking Lamar Jackson as number one.
Basically, wasn't your number one, is your number two?
It was my number
It
two.
gives you one big name QB left.
And we spoke about it before, and we've got mixed opinions on him, but number one for me in terms of fantasy is Josh Allen. And I won't go over everything because we've discussed him, but he is the offense for me. 6'5", 237 pounds. He's a Matt Allen as well, so I think that he's going to have to carry the team in terms of rushing yards, touchdowns. And they nicked the Eagles' tush push. He does just a quarterback run, third and one, fourth and one. He just leans forward. That's it. You can't stop him. So they've nicked that as well. I think he'll get plenty of rushing touchdowns, and as long as he stays fit, I think he's destined to be one of the top fantasy performers.
Tag, I'll let you rebuttal to that since you.
No, I've got him at 4. I think they might just be too much. I just not a fan of the Bills this year. I do think it's going to be a massive loss to win, and that's the main reason why I've slid him out there. Look, if he's still there, high up for me, I'd happily grab him. But that's the beauty of fantasy: mixed opinions, risk and reward. People have completely different ones to us. I'm guessing. We'll see what happens.
There we go. The top 12 for fantasy quarterbacks. Give your views, give your opinions, and we'll have a debate in the comments. So, get them in, and we'll see you for the wide receivers.